Hello everyone, this is Catherine Cassandra. Due to some family emergency, I am still in Gulf Shores, Alabama, but I will be presenting you my PowerPoint on Hildegard Peplau's interpersonal relations theory. So a little bit about Hildegard. She was born September 1st, 1909 in Reading, Pennsylvania, to immigrant parents of German descent. Her father being a workaholic and her perfectionist mother. She was raised in a paternalistic family and a paternalistic society. Though higher education was never discussed at home, Hilda was strong-willed with motivation and vision to grow beyond traditional women's roles. She wanted more out of life and knew nursing was one of the few career choices for women in her day. So there were some social events during this time that really influenced her decision into nursing. Some of those being the Great Flu epidemic, and women were first able to vote in 1920, giving them some sense of independence. And also during that time they had prohibition, and it was also a man's world in both business and education. So she really wanted to set the example for a strong, independent woman. So next, her education. She was highly educated. She graduated from Pottstown, Pennsylvania Hospital School of Nursing. She then later received a bachelor's in psychology. She also was a nurse in World War II, specializing in neuropsychiatric medicine. She then later on received a master's in psychiatric nursing and also her PhD in nursing education. So some of the colleges she went to, prestigious Columbia University, and also she received her certification in psychoanalysis for teachers. So she definitely spent some time in the classroom educating herself. Her main focus was definitely psychiatric nursing, though. So a little bit about the interpersonal relations theory. The main elements being the patient, the nurse, and the interactions between them. So in the meta-paradigm in nursing, so for her, the interpersonal relations theory, the patient, which is the person, couple, group, community, deserving of humane care with dignity, privacy, and ethics. And then, of course, you have your environment, health, and nurse. The nurse, the medium of the art of nursing, a maturing force, the unique blend of ideals, values, integrity, and commitment to the well-being of others. So the interpersonal relations theory has specifically 4 phases that the nurse-patient go through together. The first being the orientation phase, where they pretty much introduction phase. Then you have the identification phase. The patient begins to identify problems to be worked on within the relationship. You have the exploitation phase, where the patient and the nurse begin to set goals. And then the resolution phase, which is the ending phase, the client has increased self-reliance to deal with his or her own problems, and usually that's when the nurse-patient relationship ends. So some evaluation of the theory, in particular, it adequacy. So it contributes to nursing process, clearly consistent with nursing values and mission, limited in groups of people, fairly narrow set of cultural assumptions. It can be used in any specialty area of nursing with patient contact. It is holistic in nature. It's definitely a clear and logical theory. Definitions are readily understandable. Though concepts are a high level of abstraction, they can be learned with practice. So a personal example of using the interpersonal relations theory. So let's say you are a nurse practitioner in the ER environment, where your interaction with patients are usually brief. A lot of times, patients that come into the ER suffer from mental illness or substance abuse. So as an advanced practicing nurse, you definitely communication in such short periods of time are essential. So your patients have an anxiety attack, and due to the nature of the environment, the nurse practitioner assumes he or she is drug seeking. So as we all have had experience with frequent flyers, this assumption and judgment of your patient can extremely and negatively affect their outcome. So a solution using the interpersonal relations theory will refer to the 4 phases. So when you receive this patient who you believe to be a frequent flyer per se due to substance abuse, start with exploring your own beliefs and feelings about substance abuse and before meeting with your patient. So you meet with your patient and you provide reassurance, actively listen to them, get to know a little bit about their background, because there's a possibility that you could be wrong and this patient might be having a true panic attack and has never had one before. So then you were going to, if the patient is suffering from some type of substance abuse, letting them feel like they can be honest and open and to see what might be their part and not taking care of themselves. And then, of course, review the discharge plan with your patient. Give them resources on where they can go for help. Just let them feel like you're not judging them so that they feel open and willing to come back to you and talk to you with any concerns they might have. So some strengths with Peplau's theory, it definitely helped later nursing theorists and clinicians develop more therapeutic interventions regarding the roles that show the dynamic character typical in clinical nursing. Its phases provide simplicity regarding the natural progression of the nurse-patient relationship, which leads to adaptability in any nurse-patient interaction, thus providing generalizability. Some definite weaknesses that I found in her theory have been that health promotion and maintenance were less emphasized. So it's more focused on the communication, not so much the health promotion aspect. There was no theoretical framework. She has many, many concepts and sub-concepts, which can be a little bit overwhelming. And the theory cannot be used with nonverbal patients or infants because of that interpersonal relation that you have with your patient through communication. So further development, it would be beneficial to see quantitative and qualitative research which demonstrates positive healthcare outcomes based on using Peplau's theory of interpersonal relations. Specifically, quantitative studies could support the efficacy and the theory in relation to patient outcomes. Questions like, does the theory improve a patient's mental and physical health status? Or did the patient have positive education results? Could be researched to truly see the theory working in the current nursing practice. So here are some references used to create this PowerPoint. I hope you all had a wonderful rest of the quarter. I appreciate being able to do this via video, considering some family circumstances going on. But yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I'd love to give you any references that I might not have on here. All right. Thank you very much.